Good evening. Welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm David Mitchell. In the news this week, in Blackburn, a young man begins to wonder whether the salesman was being completely honest when he offered him a test ride on the new 500cc Kawasaki superbike. In Blackpool, just days after winning £27 million on the lottery, a pensioner hears about the death of his wife. As Simon Cowell installs extra security after his burglary, there's concern that the new guard dog needs to sharpen up a bit. And in order to disprove vicious rumours that he is a bully, Labour Deputy Leader Tom Watson releases home video footage of him playing with his child at Christmas. On Ian's team tonight is a journalist and Newsnight presenter who says it's about time we had a female chancellor. That's one drastic cut I'd like to see George Osborne make. Please welcome Kirsty Walk. And with Paul tonight is a comedian and co-writer of Outnumbered and Drop the Dead Donkey who says we make things that we would like to watch. So do a lot of people, but they call it sexting. Please welcome Andy Hamilton. And we start with the bigger stories of the week. Paul and Andy, take a look at this.
Oh yes, rather beautiful image, but drastic for the people who live there. Cumbria, the floodings have been pretty grim.
Cameron there, he does look as if he's saying, I can make this water go back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's about to make a canoe to himself.
Yes. There's an awful lot of water in this. So I suspect this is about the floods in Cumbria and other parts of the country. Dreadful conditions that people have been put up with.
I'm not sure it's a good idea to show so much footage of lots of water to men of our age at the top of the show.
But I think there's been a bit of controversy because there were meant to be some sort of flood plans that weren't put into plan about 3 years ago that might stop the worst of this.
They say that even the flood defences that the water came over worked a bit.
Yeah.
Because if they'd been lower, they'd have come over quicker.
Well, yes,
they'd say you'd have been flooded quicker.
Yeah.
Without that, which I think was a comfort to a lot of people.
You can put a positive spin on it. Here's Environment Minister Rory Stewart explaining how effective some of the defences have been.
So the main defence here on the Warwick Road is just behind that group of buildings that we can see. And that defence, it wasn't breached, but what's happened is the water's come over the top. So that defence has worked well.
Didn't naming the storm make us more storm aware? Because apparently the phrase, there's a life-threatening storm on the way, people just tune that out.
Yeah.
But if you say there's a life-threatening storm on the way, and oh, incidentally it's got a name, they're galvanised, but it didn't.
Yeah, but look, it was called Desmond.
Well, exactly, that's a suburban name. I mean, Desmond is not a destructive storm, is it? Desmond is someone who rings your doorbell with a petition about speed bumps. You need frightening, terrifying, destructive names like Storm Genghis.
Yeah. Or Storm Bastard.
You can't have those same jolly weather forecasters being all cosy and cheerful saying, oh, look, Desmond's on the way. It's not scary. You need the bloke who does the cinema ads.
Yeah.
Of the coast of Cornwall.
In a world where umbrellas are futile.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
It gave opportunities for people who didn't have swimming pools to kind of improvise. There was a wonderful picture of a lovely old man swimming in his kitchen.
Yes, indeed, that's 72-year-old Kendal resident Peter Clarkson. And here he is swimming. There was a daring rescue at a house in Carlisle. Did you read about that?
No.
Angela Watson told The Guardian, when we realised the waters were rising, I ran downstairs, grabbed the computer and thought, oh, desk, Carlisle United season tickets. So I grabbed them, and within minutes, the floodwaters were 4 foot 5 inches deep. It was only later that I realised I'd left my husband's wallet and his medication downstairs.
There were some cows that got rescued. They got washed away, and one was found 20 miles away, I think.
Off the coast of Brazil.
That's absolutely right, apart from the coast of Brazil.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Gordon Tweedy's pregnant cow.
You should maybe clarify that it's not...
His
he
cow.
didn't get it pregnant.
No.
It's...
I'm shocked that you felt that needed clarity.
Well, just the way it came out.
Yeah, Gordon Tweedy's pregnant cow.
Yeah, he's done it again.
Yeah, Gordon, really?
Yes, all we know is the cow was pregnant, and she was one of 45 of Gordon's cows.
He's having a water birth.
I think she's still pregnant. I don't think she's given birth.
Oh.
She was swept away by a torrent of water with 44 other cows, and the pregnant cow was found 20 miles away, placidly munching grass on the green of a golf course.
That's because they wouldn't let it into the clubhouse because she was female.
Do you know what happened to Sam and Samantha Thompson's wedding in Ullswater?
It's Cumbria, isn't it?
They had it.
They were cut off at the reception when
Did the best man bring a rubber ring?
Apparently not.
No.
It's a sensible suggestion, Ian. I don't know why people are so grumpy.
I don't know.
Two main celebrity flood victims were Tim Farron and Steve Coogan. You know the situation he found himself in?
In a car with his dog.
Yeah.
It says here, Steve Coogan was trapped in a car with a German Shepherd. So, that is good. And yes, Lib Dem leader Tim Farron was trapped in Westmoreland. Some of the floodwaters came up to Tim's chest, although elsewhere it was quite deep. Did you see what the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, did when there were floods in the Chennai region, when he was photographed by spin doctors?
No.
Well, let's have a look. Here he is, looking through the window
Washing
at
machine.
the
He's looking at his
devastation.
washing machine.
Well, it's an aeroplane.
Yes, but you make a good point, Kirsty, because the spin doctors did not consider that image to be clear enough, so they had a little tinker with it. And that tells the story much better, doesn't it? The internet was quick to pounce. And who's been taking all the flack, basically, for this disaster? It's nature's fault, but who's being...
Environmental agency.
Environmental agency.
Well, and the Environment Secretary, Liz Truss. And here she is being grilled by Bill Turnbull this week on the government's handling of the floods.
It may not be a huge consolation to people whose homes have been flooded when they see newspaper reports,
Sorry,
for instance...
I can't hear you because of the fan in the background.
All right, we'll just let that truck go past. With a bit of luck, it's going to... very usefully stopping right behind you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Ms. Truss? OK, really usefully. Laura's crossing a live shop. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now? I'm going to try talking louder to you. How's that? Can you still not hear me? All right, maybe we'll have to give it up. No, I'll try one more time. Liz Truss, Environment Secretary, can you hear me?
That's a politician who's going to go places, because everywhere she goes, she takes that truck with her.
Yes, Liz Truss has been bearing the brunt of a lot of this. I expect she wishes she was where she was last December.
In December, I'll be in Beijing, opening up new pork markets.
This is the news that the government's spending on flood defences has been far too low, as indeed have the flood defences. Do you know who was commended for bravery?
Was it Brian Blessed? It always is Brian. He usually is. There's a story most weeks that Brian's rescued someone.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gone and he's sucked up all the water through a straw. Now he's going up Mount Everest to wee it down onto the Asia. No, this
I believe that.
No, it's RTE's Theresa Mannion, who stood in the rain, reporting on the weather in the Republic of Ireland. Let's have a look.
Cannot repeat the advice often enough from the Gardaí. Don't make unnecessary journeys. Don't take risks on treacherous roads. And don't swim in the sea.
I love it.
The floods have also led to a spate of burglaries. Furious Carlisle resident Michael Johnson said, "Thieves know homes with police tape are empty. It's easy pickings. I'm taking mine off." He's since been arrested for stealing police tape. Ian and Kirsty, take a look at this.
Yes, boo.
Donald Trump is so damned attractive.
He's very keen on pictures of himself,
Very.
and he's signing it for himself. He said that all Muslims should be banned, but he announced it in the third person,
But
which
that's
is
what
a sure
people like
sign
that
of a
do.
lunatic.
Yeah.
He said, Donald J. Trump has announced. And you thought, oh, is that not you then? Distancing yourself from this bigoted idiot.
Yes, but you're absolutely right. This is the announcement he made. Let's have a look at him doing it.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
You would be able to get into America under Donald Trump.
He said he's always got on very well with the blacks. Someone said on the radio, is that the blacks who are a white couple who live 3 doors down?
You know, when he says stuff, it doesn't have to be practical. It doesn't have to be true, because he's a liar. He's a liar and he's a racist. He's a friend of Piers Morgan's. There's...
No, I didn't come on.
Piers Morgan said he was.
No, Andy, no, Piers has got no friends, you know.
Let's look at how his ban would work in practice. It's quite simple, actually. Trump explained what border guards would say when faced with travellers trying to enter the country. They would say, "Are you Muslim?" And if the answer is yes, they wouldn't be allowed into the country. It's a very workable way of doing it. So I think in answer to your question, who would be allowed into the country under his system, it's anyone.
He's getting the backwash now. Even from places like Dubai, where lots of investments, they don't want his name attached to it, they're pulling out. They're not actually... Trump trinkets sold big in the Middle East. Trump toothpaste, Trump toothbrushes.
Really?
Yeah.
Trump toothbrushes?
Well, I'm making Trump toothbrushes.
All right, you wouldn't want anything to do with him in your mouth. And how did Britain first get involved in Trump's recent remarks?
He said that London was...
no-go areas.
London was a no-go area.
For certain
you
police
can't.
officers.
Yes, he said...
Yes, there's certain places in London police are scared for their lives. Sports Direct.
Yeah.
Going there.
Yes, he bolstered...
Are you one of their regular customers?
Yeah. It's where I get my trainers.
Are they still the ones with the buckles?
They do.
No, he bolstered his argument about excluding Muslims by saying he didn't want US cities to become like London. We have places in London and other places that are so radicalised that police are afraid for their own lives. And our very own attention-seeking, tousle-haired political funny man had a response to that. Who was that and what did he say?
It was Boris. He said it was nonsense.
Yes, he said, the only reason I wouldn't go to some parts of New York is the real risk of meeting Donald Trump. Let's talk about the petition on the government's website to ban Trump from Britain on the grounds of hate speech.
That would be a huge mistake, because a bit like ISIS, that will be giving him exactly what he wants. See, that will play to the myth of him as the outsider, the truth
no
teller.
one wants to listen to these very sensible views. They're banning me. All you've got to do is listen to his views, and then you realise that you don't have to listen
But
to
the
him.
more you
Well, then
listen
we should
to them-
invite him over.
Yes, exactly.
I'd like him to be host.
Yes,
Yes.
that'd be perfect.
Yes, get
Am I
yourself
doing
off.
that badly?
He's replied already. He said, so the whole of Britain should be listening. Wake up! To what?
Wake up to fascism!
He was-
Simple, hate-fueled solution. Trump's response to the petition was that he said UK politicians should be thanking me, and he also went on to thank the respected columnist Katie Hopkins for her powerful writing on the UK's Muslim problem.
Well, case closed, Your Honour.
Yeah, he has supporters, we should say, for balance, other than Katie Hopkins. According to The Telegraph, he's received support from Andrew Anglin, publisher of the neo-Nazi website Daily Stormer. He said, "Heil Donald Trump, the ultimate saviour." He sounds nice. But surely the pressure from the media will affect Trump most. Do you know what he said about that? He once said, "You know, it really doesn't matter what the media write, as long as you've got a young and beautiful piece of ass."
Is that his own ass he's talking about, or is that...
Yeah, I think he's talking about a sexual partner, but he may be talking about a nice cut of donkey meat. Just for fun, to lighten the mood, shall we see some vegan butter that looks like Donald Trump?
Yes, please.
Yes, please, yes.
Here you go. What's Trump's other brilliant idea for stopping the influence of ISIS?
Building a wall around the Middle East.
No, this is much more technological. According to The Independent, he's going to turn off the internet because it's being used to radicalise people. He said, we've got to maybe do something with the internet. And he said he would see Bill Gates about closing the internet. To be honest, I would be 100% behind that. While Trump is concerned about the spread of ISIS in the States, who's in trouble for promoting ISIS-style violence in this country?
Tyson Fury.
Oh, yes, good answer.
No.
No, not Tyson Fury. It's BAFTA-winning CBBC cartoon Ooglies. That would have been your next answer, I know.
Oh, I know this story. I read this. It's about a soldier and a boiled egg.
Oh, yeah.
And the soldier has chopped the top of the egg off. And someone's complained that this is a fake beheading scene.
Yeah. Yes, let's take a look.
I'm beginning to sympathise. I didn't realise we had a bomb outrage first. I think it should be banned.
So who else has been the subject of a petition this week?
The strangely named Tyson Fury, who believes that homosexuals are paedophiles and that women are better to be in the kitchen.
For a boxer, he's not strangely named. He's named after
His dad was a boxer.
that well-known wife-beater Mike Tyson, yeah.
Yeah, but
Don't broadcast that, you might be watching.
But he was up for Sports Personality of the Year. Now, was he ever going to win Sports Personality of the Year? That's the thing.
Over 100,000 people have signed a petition calling for the BBC to remove Tyson Fury from the Sports Personality of the Year shortlist.
It's an unfortunate immediate reaction to everything you don't like. Just ban it. You could argue against it, or point out it's wrong, or listen to it, or... But no, just ban it.
Also,
Well, it's like that.
apart from the boiled egg, which I think should be banned.
also, if he hadn't come out with all this rubbish, I mean, he did win the World Heavyweight Championship. He would have been in that list.
Yeah.
You
And-
say
and he
rubbish,
is-
though. Other people say patriarchal gypsy culture.
I mean, he
I'm
is a
just testing
boxer.
your liberalism here, Andy.
He is a boxer. I mean, he gets hit in the head for a living. I'm not sure that the intellectual expectation... Don't broadcast this either.
And what did he actually say, Fury?
Homosexuals and paedophiles, that needs to be sorted before the end of the world.
He said...
So he's put a kind of deadline on it. And he said women belong in the kitchen or on their backs.
That makes cooking quite difficult, doesn't
It
it?
does, yeah.
Especially one of those low-level ovens, I suppose,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. I mean, she'll have to be up for it, obviously.
Yeah.
Fury said there are only 3 things that need to be accomplished before the devil comes home. One is homosexuality being legal, one is abortion, the other is paedophilia. Quite a dark remark, isn't it?
Yeah, although he's quite positive about it. You know, there are only 3,
Yeah.
he says.
I didn't realise that the devil lived here.
He had a place in Luton, didn't
He's
he?
got a few places.
How did Tyson defend his comments?
I think he said I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
didn't
Well, he
I'm only
firstly,
just saying what I've been taught.
he firstly denied making the comments at all, claiming that a Mail on Sunday journalist, Oliver Holt, had made them up. Then, when the recording of the interview between the pair was published online, Tyson claimed that they weren't actually his words, but those from the Bible. He said, I quoted some quotes out the Bible that I didn't write because I didn't write the Bible. I believe the third of those assertions. And then he went with the classic defence, I've got a few gay friends, actually. What did Tyson Fury say about fellow Sports Personality of the Year nominee Jessica Ennis-Hill?
Aren't we just giving the publicity more to what he said? I'll just ignore him and go on to the next question.
Might as well. This is Donald Trump's call to ban all Muslims from entering America. That's his view of immigrants, honestly. They come over here. Donald Trump is now insisting that Muslims should not be allowed to come into the country and take the work of ordinary Americans who are perfectly capable of going on their own gun rampages. This week, an apparent terrorist attack on the London Underground gave rise to the hashtag #YouAin'tNoMuslim, bruv. Perhaps not what the attacker wanted to hear, though on the plus side, it would qualify him to get into Donald Trump's America. And so to round 2, the one-armed bandit of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the first one.
The Mona Lisa, one of the most famous portraits ever painted, there's an expert, and he thinks that underneath there's a painting of somebody else selling kebabs in the Hornsey High Road in 1452.
And they also found some numbers for colouring purposes.
Yeah.
The thing is that people used to think that the Mona Lisa was a picture of someone called Lisa Gherardini, but now they reckon the one underneath is of her, which means the one on top, the famous one, has to be of someone else, because they're definitely different people. Let's have a look at the Lisa underneath the Mona.
Okay.
Oh.
You can see
Eyes are similar.
The perspective looks a bit out on that one.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah, she does.
the head's a bit weird. I mean, far be it from me to criticise Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, you know.
But hang on, that can't be under the Mona Lisa painting.
That's what they think.
That's what they... Yeah,
Oh, that's an artist's impression.
Yeah, well, I don't... Yeah.
I think that's... According to The Sun, Leonardo... Sorry. To be honest, I get all of my art analysis from The Sun. Leonardo da Vinci did the portrait of a merchant's wife in 1503, but later changed it to look like a happier woman. A French scientist, Pascal Cote, found the secret woman. What else did Pascal find under the picture?
Did he find these coloured stars? They're not Leonardo's, are they? Round the side.
According to Mr. Cote, he also found another Madonna-style image with Leonardo's etchings of a pearly headdress and a shadowy outline of a portrait with a larger head and nose, bigger hands and smaller lips. Who wants to see a Mona Lisa mask that you can buy your loved ones?
No, not for me.
You don't Yeah. If you cut the hair off, it also works as a David Cameron mask. In other picture news, what was Adolf Hitler accidentally helping to sell this week?
Bowling alleys.
No, it's not bowling alleys. It's not. It's
Inadvertently selling, did you
yes.
say?
Well, he's dead, so he can't really get involved.
So you think?
Yeah, I do.
Is it the Republican
Either that or
Party?
he's sharing a cheeseburger with Elvis somewhere. It's. I don't mean to be rude about Elvis. Elvis would not like Hitler. They wouldn't get on. It's women's bras.
As opposed to men's bras.
Yeah. Clothing firm Simply Be was forced to apologise after this appeared on their website.
It takes a while to get round to him, but he's there. Some of the men still haven't seen it yet.
It's a real bargain, the Mein Kampf bra, isn't it?
Yeah. For a fiver, that isn't bad at all.
I mean, it's not shaped like a bra.
And it's got plenty of Laban's round.
They all seem very nice, healthy girls.
Especially one with a moustache.
Yes.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Is that Taylor Swift?
It is.
Are these sort of dressing room demands?
Not heard this story. This is the news that science has shown that certain foods taste better with certain types of music.
Are these music foodologists?
This is Professor Charles Spence of the University of Oxford.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's back out, is he?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, Charlie.
Yeah. Another new identity. He discovered that music can affect the enjoyment of food. And how did he conduct his research? Do you know?
He ate a lot.
Yeah.
He gave people food while playing different bits of music to them.
You could be a professor. Based on Professor Spence's research, which type of food do you think the following songs improve the taste of?
Okay.
So let's start with Queen's We Will Rock You.
Fish cakes. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to say that.
It's like a genre. Think genres of food rather than
Curries.
specific. Yes, curries, Indian food. They found that listening to rock music, you can tell this is scientific, they found that listening to rock music made curries 4% spicier. Nina Simone's Feeling Good?
Cannibalism.
Sushi. Sushi. And finally, Taylor Swift's Blank Space.
Whatever's on that plate.
Fajitas.
Whatever that is.
Chinese food, I think that's noodles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it gives you a better tasting Chinese. And when you spill a bit of soy sauce, you can just shake it off, shake it off. I have no idea what that means. May you enjoy it. The report recommends tandoori chicken with a dollop of Arctic monkeys. Which actually, I think I once ate in a Glasgow curry house. According to Professor Spence, Justin Bieber tracks turned people off food, along with drinking water, breathing air, and any other means of sustaining life. Finally, what unusual ingredient is being added to cocktails to make the most poignant and personal Christmas gift imaginable?
Oh, God.
Oh, polonium.
Yeah.
What is it? Well, tell us the
It's
answer.
tears.
What?
A London-based cocktail bar is hosting a workshop where you can make bitters from your own pasteurised tears.
I hate myself for asking this, but why do you have to pasteurise the tears?
You could have conjunctivitis.
It's not as romantic, is it, when the tears are diseased?
No.
Really, yeah. This is the news that certain types of music go with certain types of food. According to the research, playing jazz has been found to make customers happier to pay for their food. Yes, but only because they're in a hurry to get out. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the next one.
Looks like Shakespeare. Is it
Shakespeare stole a theatre,
Did he?
basically. So that
Is
story...
that why he's got a bag of swag
Yeah,
over his shoulder?
yeah, he's
And he's
managed
wearing a
to-
black and white striped shirt, like all burglars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabethan burglars in particular.
Yeah.
Rough justice. Go on, then.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ian.
Shakespeare and his mate Garrick, they fell out with the landlord
Garrick?
of the theatre, the actor.
No, Garrick's a bit later.
Yeah,
Garrick.
he's-
Who was
he's-
it?
he's
King?
decent.
Ken.
No.
Ken the
Burbage.
clown.
Burbage, that was it.
yeah.
Yeah, not Garrick, Andy. For God's sake.
Ridiculous.
Burbage. You're an idiot.
Might I'll say Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Him and his mate, Benedict Cumberbatch. They fell out with the landlord and they decided to nick the theatre. They've released the archive of the court records, is it?
Yes, according to 17th century papers that have just been released.
Yeah.
It's an inquiry by Sir John of Chilcot.
Yes, this is for a new exhibition on the Bard. Shakespeare and a band of actors did riotously take down and carry away the said theatre in confederacy with others armed with unlawful and offensive weapons, as namely swords, daggers, bills, axes, and such like, and so did enter, and in a very riotous and outrageous manner, did attempt to pull down and carry away the said theatre. Very drastic way of transferring a play to the West End. Yeah, they took the theatre apart and moved it across the river to build a new theatre, the Globe.
Yeah.
And what other salacious Shakespearean scandal was revealed last week, thanks to the Diary of a Contemporary? Apparently Shakespeare entertained groupies, although not necessarily his own. According to Elizabethan law student John Manningham, Shakespeare overheard a young lady approach the actor Richard Burbage following a performance of Richard III. The lady suggested he come to visit her and use the code word Richard III to enter her room. When Burbage arrived later, Shakespeare was already there and had a servant bring down a note saying, William the Conqueror was before Richard III.
Bet someone got the hump. Thank you very much.
Talking of making things disappear, though, do you want to see an orangutan enjoying some close-up
Yes.
magic? This is an old court paper that suggests William Shakespeare was involved in the theft of a whole theatre. It was pretty easy to reassemble the Elizabethan theatre, which was much like an IKEA flat pack, with every piece carefully labelled. It even inspired Shakespeare's most famous line as he looked round for the next piece of wood that would slot into section 2A. According to the Mail, one of the documents from 1595...
The only excuse for it is they didn't actually say the punchline.
Yeah.
That's the only excuse for that gag.
Some people are still doing the admin on it.
Some people are still trying to find Hitler in those 4 pictures.
According to the Mail, one of the documents from 1595 shows how Shakespeare earned too little to pay tax, though there were a number of suspicious offshore transactions for Prospero's island. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your four are President Xi Jinping, wrestler Joey Ryan, Father Christmas, and Ainsley Harriott.
They've all bought sections of British industry. Except 3 of them.
They're all pretending to be people. So Ainsley Harriott, of course, was stupidly put in place of Lenny Henry.
Who by?
By an ITV reporter.
That's not the right answer. Being mistaken is
For the
On
wrong
ITV.
person.
They've done it 3 times.
They thought Santa was the leader of the Labour Party.
Okay.
It's about
The
mistaken
level of
news
charity
reports.
you have to give us is more or less the answer.
Okay. They've all been the
Mistaken
subject of
identity.
mistakes in news reports this week.
Apart from
Santa.
No.
The Chinese Prime Minister.
Nope.
the guy in the trunks.
He's the only one left.
Yes. We got it. Well done.
Well, I didn't think you'd get that, but well done in the end. Yes, they've all been the subject of mistakes in news reports this week, apart from wrestler Joey Ryan, who definitely did what the press reported he'd done. Professional wrestler Joey Ryan defeats opponent using only his penis.
Okay, you haven't got film of that then?
Sounds pretty unbelievable, doesn't it? We do have film of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, ooh.
A long night out there.
Let's have a look.
次シーズンアメリカとアメリカ人、欧米人、どのが違うかこのことですね。逆にディーゴ選手に指の関節が決められてますね。
That's the best production of King Lear I've ever seen. Too late to put him in for sports personality.
The resignation of Chinese President Xi Jinping was mistakenly reported due to a typo this week. The Chinese language is notoriously hard to navigate. For instance, whenever George Osborne should be saying, "Your human rights record stinks," it comes out as, "Would you like to buy our country?" ITV News were forced to apologise after using footage of TV chef Ainsley Harriott in a news report about Lenny Henry receiving his nightly.
Easy to make a mistake like that. If you're not paying any attention.
So Lenny Henry's investiture by the Queen at Windsor went without a hitch, apart from one moment when they could just hear the muffled sound of Prince Philip shouting, "Why have you locked me in this cupboard?" Norwegian newspaper Aftenposten apologised this week for accidentally announcing the death of Father Christmas. They blamed the blunder on an error in Afton Poston's internal procedures, which led to a fictional obituary of Santa Claus being published in our digital system.
Well, Santa will be furious. There'll be no presents for them this year.
It's like the little boy that writes to Santa and he says, you know, we had a burglary last week and our presents were taken away, and I just wonder, Santa, whether, you know, if you could send us £15, that would just be able to buy something, you know. And the boys at the post office see, you know, this letter addressed to Santa, and they have a bit of a whip round, and, you know, they get about 12 quid, you know, they bung it in the envelope and send it back, you know. And a week later they get a little note from the boy saying, "Dear Santa, thank you so much for sending the £12. I did ask for 15, but I expect those bastards at the post office nick the rest of it."
There was another Christmas-related error this week. This is a homeowner who decorated their house with fake snow on their upstairs window to read, "Let it snow." Unfortunately, when viewed from the front, it reads simply, "Tit snow."
Oh, punctuation is just so important.
And finally, the BBC also had to make an apology this week due to a problem during Match of the Day. Anyone hear about this?
Well, they put football on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what happened. They had to apologise to former Aston Villa chairman Sir Doug Ellis after a subtitler mistakenly linked him with an Islamist militant group. When Ellis was spotted in the crowd at Goodison Park, the Match of the Day commentator said, "Great to see Doug Ellis here in his Villa scarf." Somehow these words were misinterpreted by the subtitler to read, "Great to see Doug Ellis here with Hezbollah." Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, British Kebab, the magazine of the British kebab industry. You're never quite sure what's in it. And we start with man named Watt arrested for trespassing at brewery.
Mr. Piss Up. It's got to be.
Mr. Keg.
Yeah, it's actually Mr. Budweiser.
Ooh.
Man named Budweiser
And his friend, Mr. Carlsberg.
This happened at the Budweiser Brewery in Missouri. Appropriately, Budweiser is now behind bars. Next, the winner of Best Kebab outside of London was what?
Istanbul.
Was this a big scandal story? Was it the winner of Best Kebab outside of London was actually inside London?
The answer is the winner of Best Kebab outside London was a restaurant in Southend called Best Kebab. At the same ceremony, Ali Dirick, winner of the prestigious Chef of the Year award, gave a moving acceptance speech which went as follows. "Fuck Nando's." Careful, as a kebab chef, you should know what goes around comes around. Next, are your goldfish sabotaging your what?
Are your goldfish sabotaging your country, says Donald Trump.
Sabotaging your sex life.
Yes. Sex life.
Yes.
No.
No. That's good.
Bit revealing, though,
Yeah.
that Kirsty weighed in quite so fast
Yeah.
there. What's going on in that house?
Unburden yourself with.
Come on, Kirsty, answer the question.
The answer is Wi-Fi. Next, Boris Johnson. This is indeed the era of
The
what?
kebab.
Correct.
Oh, no. Really?
Of course.
This is from British Kebab. And let's face it, Boris knows all about making rash decisions late at night that you'll regret in the morning. Next, the riddle of Posh's missing what?
It's her arm.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It was a sacrifice she made early on in the fashion industry. Because you look better if you
Yeah,
just do
yeah.
this.
Absolutely. Quite.
I have done a certain amount of modelling.
It's actually the riddle of Posh's missing right arm. There she is.
Yeah.
That's going to be a bit sultry to go out at 9 o'clock, Ian, if you keep doing that.
Oh, right, I won't
Yeah.
smile then.
Yeah.
There is a simple explanation for all these pictures. She's hiding a pie. Next, Jeremy Corbyn, the cast of EastEnders, and Lennox Lewis are what?
All contenders for Sports Personality of the Year.
This year's must-have action figures.
I'll give you a clue. It's a kebab one.
Oh.
Frequent visitors to the kebab restaurant in Highbury.
You are so close, Paul. It's Archway.
Oh.
Jeremy Corbyn, the cast of EastEnders, and Lennox Lewis are regular visitors to the Archway Kebab House. This is from British Kebab. The cast of EastEnders are regulars at the kebab shop, though they all say the same thing when they're offered salad. Leave it out. And finally, British astronaut Tim Peake will have to what in a tradition dating back to 1961?
The upside down?
P.
P.
You're right about P. Now we
P
need
before he goes, and then wait for a couple of months.
Yeah. Pee into his costume, into his suit.
Costume?
I know.
Yeah, the answer is urinate on the right rear wheel of the bus taking him to the rocket. British astronaut Tim Peake heads to the International Space Station next week. Before he goes, he'll do this ritual. According to The Guardian, the tradition of urinating on the wheel of the bus was started by Yuri Gagarin. Although, to be fair, he himself was just following a tradition set by Laika, the Soviet space dog. So, the final scores are Paul and Andy have 5 points, and Ian and Kirsty have 6 points. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Oh my God, my varicose veins are killing me.
Never mind, think of a caption. On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Kirsty Walk, Paul Merton and Andy Hamilton, and I leave you with news that in Carlisle there are signs that life is finally returning to normal after one cheery resident pops out to do some Christmas shopping on the high street. In Zurich, investigators into the FIFA corruption scandal fear Sepp Blatter may have evaded the authorities after making use of an ingenious decoy. And Nigel Farage proves he's still a force to be reckoned with after, once again, being the last man standing at the UKIP Christmas party. Good night.
Yeah.